Tune in to the Diva Hustle Show.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the Diva Hustle Show. Today, my guest is Sarah. She's a certified nutrition specialist, a personal trainer, and an entrepreneur at Sarah Bowmar. Is that how
Yes. Yep.
Thank you, Sarah, for joining us.
No, thank you.
So, can you start by sharing a bit about your background and journey into fitness and nutrition, the nutrition industry?
Yeah. So I started, sorry, my son's in the background. I started as honestly just a competitor in 2012 and was really just promoting myself on Instagram. And a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, like, can you train me? And I'm like, whoa, 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 I am not qualified to train anyone but myself. And that really sort of sparked my curiosity and just passion for fitness and helping others. So that's when I became fitness nutrition certified. I became a certified personal trainer, and I had just finished working. I just finished my master's in marketing and was working at a digital marketing agency at the time. And it was when Instagram like just started, becoming big. And I was like anti-Instagram. I wanted nothing to do with it, but everyone there was just like, no, you have to get on it, you have to do it. And over the next 2 years, I just started growing a following. It was, very organic when Instagram had just first started. And in 2014 at the Arnold, I actually ended up meeting my now husband, and we honestly just it really just blossomed from there. So we met in March of 2014. He went to school for exercise physiology. He's an IFBB pro. He won the Arnold twice. And just through that, and just through, our fitness passion and everything, we've started a supplement company. We used to train people before kids online, had big challenges and stuff. And now that we have kids, that's definitely not the case. But yeah, it just honestly just started through social media and attending the Arnold for the first time in 2012 and just really getting that spark and passion for health and fitness.
Wow. And so as an entrepreneur and a personal trainer and a nutrition specialist, how do you balance like your role as mom and entrepreneur? How do you balance it all?
It's tough. Like it's always chaotic, it's always stress. But I do feel like we've got a good system now down. So my daughter is 3.5, my son will be 2 in March. And so now they're more mobile, they're more helpful. And so it's definitely a lot easier now because they are a lot more independent than obviously when they're newborns. But really just being on that schedule and having a very organized list, detailed list of things that need to be done, and really working together as husband and wife, because we are obviously husband and wife and they're also business partners. And so having that communication of like, hey, like my husband's in there with the kids right now, like, hey, I've got this, can you watch them, vice versa. Get a lot done before the kids wake up and after they go to bed at night. And yeah, it's just doing your best to sort of, I always talk about like wearing those hats. And so like when I have my mom hat on, I'm not trying to also check emails, and I'm not trying to record content and do that. So I really feel like too, I get a lot more done when my attention isn't going in a million directions. But yeah, it's definitely a learning process for sure. And as our companies get bigger, we've sort of taken different roles in our companies. Instead of operators, we're now more owners and making those like big time decisions instead of like doing customer service emails. We used to do all of our, content posts and things, and now we have teams that do that. So as we're growing, obviously our employees are taking on more of those roles. But yeah, it's definitely a learning curve wearing all the hats every single day.
It is, and that's the thing. Like when you first starting out, you have to do everything, right? Because you're like getting started. But as what I like is like you're saying, as you grow, you're able to put certain systems and people in place so that it allows you to focus on other things that you might have put to the wayside.
Absolutely.
And so, what would you say your fitness philosophy is, and how has it evolved over the course of your career?
Oh my gosh. I've been like doing fitness for a dozen years now. And I used to be like balls to the wall, no days off, and then you sort of realize like, okay, yeah, maybe you can do that when you're like 21, but you definitely like can't do that forever. So really, I mean, anymore now, it's especially over the last year and having kids and, going through that postpartum journey, I feel like my fitness philosophy has definitely evolved. And I feel like now it's a lot of like, okay, how can I not only be like strong for myself, but like strong for my kids, and being able to like be there. I don't, I want to be as healthy as possible, and I want them to be able to look up to us and like have us encourage them in their activity and their fitness levels and health journey. And so I really feel like, honestly, it's just figuring out what's going to work for you, because so many people like see, oh, I see Sarah Bowmar and she does X, Y, and Z, but yes, but that works for my schedule. Like
Right.
if it's going to stress you out more than it's going to benefit you, then let's not try to do that. Like we need to find a schedule that's going to work for you and your goals and your time constraints and your limitations and what you have going on in your day, instead of just trying to like replicate what person XYZ does on Instagram.
Right. And
Yeah.
so what are some key nutrition tips that you can share with your clients or people that are listening that are trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle?
For sure. Honestly, just figuring out ways to enjoy your meal plan and enjoy, the food that you are eating. For us, that's honestly why we started our supplement company, because we we really wanted to enjoy our protein. We wanted to be able to have protein coffee. We wanted to have novelty protein items like bars and cookies and, chips and things like that, to where it's like, okay, it's a quick thing, but it's still going to be healthy. It's still going to fit in my lifestyle, and it's still going to satisfy that chip craving, but oh, it's also got 15 grams of protein in it. Perfect.
Mhm.
It's those swaps that I really feel like you don't necessarily notice the difference, like as far as taste or anything, but it can really help with your overall calories, can help get more protein in. I feel like a lot of people too, women especially, like are very scared to consume a ton of protein because they don't want to get bulky, when in reality, like I'm consuming more protein than I ever have, and I'm the leanest I've ever been, and my muscles are, I'm getting stronger. And so I do feel like, those are just kind of some tips. Make it work for you, and find fun ways to like, oh, I'm craving cookies. Okay, well, here's a protein cookie, or here's a way to, make it healthy. And it might take, a little bit longer to make, but at
Right.
the end of the day, I really feel like it's not necessarily the food that's making us unhealthy, but it's the way that it's prepared, or it's you know, it's not the hamburger, it's the fact that it's from McDonald's. If you make a hamburger at home, you don't feel gross, but when it's prepared and has all that, all those fillers and things in it. So I've really, like, over the last 2 or 3 years, just the amount of like food that I make at home, and like, oh, I'm really into like my sourdough era right now, and like this
Okay.
homesteading thing. We have the chickens and the goats, and so I do feel like too, like the more you can incorporate homemade meals, oh my gosh, the better you'll feel. I really feel like it just does so much for the soul too, to like
Yeah.
provide for your family in that way. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like back to the fitness thing though, it is just about figuring out what fits in, what fits into your day, and having a meal plan that you enjoy following. It might not be super fun to be like, oh, well, I can't have X, Y, and Z, but if you enjoy it for the most part, you're so much more likely to stick to it.
Right. And like you said, it's like when you eat home and you're cooking your meals, it's so the food to me tastes so much better.
So
Um,
much better.
but then, like a friend of mine, he had diabetes, and I was telling him, like, on your days off, that's when you should be meal prepping. You could get the
Mhm.
containers and things like that. Um,
Yep.
but like another thing I wanted to touch on, how you were saying with females, like we feel like if we eat too much protein, we're going to bulk up. But the protein, which I found, and I don't know if it's right or not, but it makes you make you fuller then.
Oh, for sure. Protein has such a satiety to it because it takes your body so much longer to break it down and process it. And so
Right.
same with fiber. And so I always tell people, like, if you can get 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight, oh my gosh, you're going to feel fuller, and you're actually going to like start seeing muscle retention. You might even see muscle gains without doing a lot of extra work. Like I feel like a lot of women just completely shortcome themselves by not consuming enough protein.
Right. Now let me ask you a question, your opinion on something. When it comes to like working out, especially for women, is it key that we work out probably like 5 to 7 days a week? And should we always incorporate like cardio in our workouts?
So it's just going to depend on how many days a week you can go. Now, if you're trying to decide between cardio and weight training, I will always say weight training,
Okay.
because if you're doing cardio, yes, you're going to burn calories while you're at the gym, and you're going to improve your, your heart and your lungs, which are obviously very important. But if you're weight training, you're going to see benefits all day, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to burn playing with the kids, walking outside, just doing these things, because your body has more mass to move. So you actually burn more calories with the more muscle that you have, which is obviously amazing, because then you get to eat more. So, I mean, for me personally, I have a pretty regimented workout and fitness schedule just based off of like my goals. But I mean, if any female can get to the gym and weight train 4 to 5 times a week for 45 minutes, oh my gosh, you will see incredible results. Just how your clothes fit, how you feel, your strength, your joints will hurt less, you know, all of these amazing benefits outside of just like the way that you look.
Right. That's true. I mean, I just know I talked to my one cousin, and she goes to the gym 5 days a week, but she just do strictly cardio. And I'm like, you got to incorporate some weights. And she was like, well, I don't want to bulk up, you know.
I've been trying to bulk for a dozen years, so it's definitely not. It's definitely not. You cannot bulk without intention. I always tell women, like, you're never going to look in the mirror and you're like, oh my gosh, look at my traps. Like, it doesn't just happen overnight. So that's the beauty of bodybuilding. Okay, for me personally, I don't want my quads to get bigger, so I'm not going to isolate them. I have 3 glute days a week because I want my glutes to get bigger and my hamstrings. I don't want to isolate my quads, so I don't touch my quads. So that's what's so nice too, as if a female, if you're starting to say, oh, my shoulders are getting just like a little too big, back off the shoulders. Let's not do them. Let's not do them for a month and just kind of atrophy them and take them down. And that's what's so nice about bodybuilding. One, you're not going to get bulky without purposefully doing it for years and years and years and years, but you're going to be able to build your body based off of your own personal preferences.
Right. That's true. And so what have been some significant challenges you have faced as an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome them?
Oh gosh, there's challenges every single day. Honestly, I do feel like as a business owner, you have to really take ownership and pride in being that leader. And so I see all our books behind us. Like, that's been the biggest thing for me and my husband, is just like getting out of our own way and really doing a lot of self-reflection, taking the reins off, especially with 2 kids, especially with everything that we have going on, and like trusting our team, trusting our employees, trusting everyone that we have in place to do the job, get the job done. I'm on 3 calls a week with them, and that's it. The rest of the time they have access to me, you know, but for the most part, they are 100% self-sufficient, which is phenomenal. And the fact that we can trust them. But to your point earlier, you know, you have to do the thing. You have to do everything at first. You're not going to have enough capital to have an entire team of people. So I do feel like as an entrepreneur, just like really understanding where your strengths are. Like, my strength is marketing, my husband's strength is leadership. And so for us, hey, you do that, and he has hands off of, you know, the stuff that he knows that I'm good at. And so really realizing your strengths, outsourcing your weaknesses, working on yourself. You don't have to read 100 self-help books a month or a year or whatever, but just like always be striving to be a better leader, get out of your own way, healing yourself, and then, you know, leading the companies in the direction that you want them to go.
Right. That's true. I mean, I feel like as an entrepreneur, like you said, every day you're learning something new, but even if you take an extra 15 minutes out of your day just to read on whatever you're, you know, just to perfect your craft. That's
For
what I
sure.
call it. Yeah. So,
Yeah. And that's what's so cool too about like how much access we have to YouTube and Instagram and the internet and TikTok. Like, I know TikTok gets a bad rep, but like I've learned so, like, if you follow the right people on TikTok, oh my gosh, like the amount of like parenting coaches that I follow, and the amount of people who are like, here's an iPhone hack, and I'm like, this just doubled my productivity, you know? And so if you are using, even if you're on, you know, swiping on social media, but if you're using it as a tool to better yourself, there are so many incredible, like, Photoshop people and the way to make reels and the way to edit, and even people like online telling you how to go viral. Like, it's so freaking cool how much access we have to information that when we were starting, I'm like, okay, I'm learning this in a textbook that's 50 years old and it doesn't even apply anymore. But now we have all this up-to-date relevant information, which is so cool.
Right. And so what are some of your future goals and aspirations as far as being an entrepreneur, and especially in fitness?
So as an entrepreneur, the ultimate goal is to just sell everything and like completely just check out. But obviously that's a way, way, way down the road. Honestly, though, as an entrepreneur, especially in our supplement company, is just coming out with supplements that help just your everyday life. Of course, we have the pre-workout, we have the protein, we have the things that help in the gym, but your gym is like 4% of your day. I want you to feel good all day. And so we're just, especially this year, we're coming out with a lot of products that gear towards women's health and women's sexual health. And that's something, hormones and HRT is definitely something that I've taken a big passion in the last 2 years since having my son. And so to bring these products to market and to, to mainstream them and to normalize like hormones and women's health. And so just being able to bring products to market that we are passionate about and can help others, and not necessarily like, yeah, the protein's cool, you got big muscles, but like, oh, you can't see because your eyes have went to shit. So like, let's make an eye health supplement, and just things that can help. We're living longer, so I want to have a full life as long as I can. And so that quality of life. So bringing products to market that improve quality of life is just, it's such a passion for both of us, and, kids now. And so kids products and things like that. So that's really fun. So that's our goals, like as far as entrepreneur. And then fitness goals, my husband and I haven't competed since 2014. So we're probably going to get back on stage this year because we are technically like master's age, because I turned 35 in February. So that might be something that we do this year, which would be really fun. And then another goal with fitness for me, I've really fallen in love with Pilates over the last year. And so just like really just, I don't even know the word, just like being that and having that energy that Pilates gives you, and like being like how centered you are, and my flexibility is improving, my strength like outside of Pilates is improving. So for me, that's my bread and butter right now. Like if I could do Pilates every single day, I absolutely would.
Now, I never did Pilates. Have you did yoga before?
Yes. Yep. So when I was competing, I did a lot of yoga, especially Bikram yoga, like the hot yoga. It's nothing like yoga. It's so like, especially because there's a bunch of different types of Pilates. Like you can do Pilates on the reformer, you can do it on the mat, you can do it on the chair. There's so many different types. And I do reformer twice a week and then mat Pilates once a week at Lifetime, and absolutely love it. And it's just all the stability muscles. It's your balance. It's like, even my husband's like, your legs have gotten so much more like developed since you started Pilates. And I swear it's just those tiny little muscles that then, oh, I'm able to lift more in the gym because I'm activating those little muscles and those stability muscles, and my balance is better and my ankle mobility is better, so I can get further into my squat depth. It's crazy how, and my core, like I have an 8-pack and I have 2 children. I've never had the core that I do. Even when I was 21 years old, had no kids, I'm like, I'm in better shape now at almost 35 than when I first started fitness.
Okay. All right. Well, I got to try this Pilates.
Honestly,
I'm missing something.
you will love it. Like, it's seriously, I talk about it, probably my followers on Instagram are probably overhearing me talk about it, but I love it. I love it so much. It's awesome.
And what are some wellness and fitness trends that you see coming out in the future?
Oh gosh. As far like, I know a lot of trends in the supplement space. A lot of supplement companies are going towards gummies. So like multivitamin, eye health, fish oil, these omegas. So that's definitely something that, we're seeing in the supplement space. In the fitness space, I do feel like a lot more influencers are starting to gravitate towards this like homesteading, get away from the processed food bullshit. Like, just because it fits into your diet doesn't mean you should be eating it. And so that's really cool to see. Like, for a while we were all about like the Halo ice cream and the Quest bars and, all of these like overly processed things. And there's definitely a place for them. I'm not someone to say like, I've never had Halo ice cream, like whatever, one time every 6 months is not going to kill you. But to be able to like, at least the people that I follow that are in fitness they're starting to make bread at home. They're starting to do more meals. They're starting to eat more whole food. They're starting to do all these things. And it's really cool to see that people are focusing on their recovery and the sauna and cold plunging and stretching and Pilates and hormone testing and biohacking and like blood work and all these things. And so I do feel like we're getting more holistic as far as health and fitness goes, at least the people that I follow. I'm sure there's still people out there who, promote these fad diets and these, butt pads or whatever's going on. But for the most part, the trends that I'm seeing are actually pretty cool. So as far as like getting back towards like just more holistic side of health and fitness.
Yeah, that's the thing. We definitely are seeing and I don't know if it's because of the new year, but you're seeing more people want to get more like they're being more health conscious and
Mhm.
you know, like, and that's what I know. The other day I was driving, I'm like, they need like a drive through fast, like a healthy fast food drive through. You know what I mean? For people that's on the go, trying
1,000%.
to. But I'm like,
Mhm.
but you just starting to see because people now are just like, I'm doing intermittent fasting, and I'm just gonna go
Mhm.
ahead and drink water, coffee, you know, whatever, because they're being conscious now. Like,
Yep. And there's so many fasting benefits too. Like I love fasting. It's amazing.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so, what advice would you give to anybody that's listening that are thinking about starting their own business in health and fitness?
Their business and health and fitness.
Mhm.
Oh man. Honestly, just like practice what you preach and like be your best customer, because if you wouldn't buy from you, no one else is going to. So if you take it your content, especially, and like your mission and your products from a position of like, I want to make the world a better place, instead of, oh, I just want to get rich. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a boss babe. I want to own my own time. Like, I'm here to tell you, you're going to work 100 times harder working for yourself than working for anyone else, because it never turns off. If you
Right.
leave your office, like, okay, I'm done. But like, as an entrepreneur, no, 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 you are 24/7, 365. So definitely don't do it because you're like trying to get rich or like doing any of that. But like, if you're creating businesses or companies or products or services that are going to like make the world a better place, like, then just make that always your mission to give people more than what they are giving you, and it will, it'll explode your company tenfold.
Yeah, I agree. Don't just get it. I feel like even with anything, you don't get into it just to get into make money, because then at some point the passion is going to leave, and then it's
Yeah.
going to become draining, and you're going to see the results in whatever business you're doing. So you definitely have to get into it because that's the love that's your lifestyle. Like you and your husband, that's your lifestyle.
Yep, absolutely.
So if people wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
So everything's on my Instagram. So Sarah_Bowmar. Our companies are there, my website, blog, contact, email, all of that. Everything can be found just straight on my Instagram.
All right. But
Yeah.
thank you, Sarah, for dropping past. I appreciate talking with you and hearing your journey. Congratulations again on being a woman entrepreneur, and
Thank you.
just keep up the good work.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Tune in to the Diva Hot Show. Motivate the glow. We give you more info. Think to my head to toe. I let the whole world know. I let the whole world know.